My name is Sherrie Atkinson. I live in the Lindon First Ward. We were getting ready to go to the temple, and my son was going to pass off his first aid merit badge. So I was ironing my temple clothes, and he was sitting on a chair as I was quizzing him. He did really well on the quiz, and then I asked him if he felt good about the first aid manual and what he was learning, and he said, "I do, but I don't understand the Heimlich maneuver." So I said, "Well, you stand up and I'll practice on you. You'll know how it feels." And then I said, "Okay, now you practice on me." And he practiced on me, and I said, "How do you feel now?" And he said, "I think I have it." So I packed my clothes, and up the street he went to pass off his test. And when Grant and I entered the temple, they needed initiatory patrons, and so we decided that's what we would do. As I went through to the initiatory, there was just a woman at the desk who directed me to the very last booth. Maybe there were about 8 booths at the Provo Temple. And as I went to the last booth, I sat on the chair, a little stool, and waited for a matron to come. And all of a sudden I heard someone unwrapping a piece of candy, or maybe a cough drop. And I thought maybe this person has a cold, or this is a breath mint. And then all of a sudden I heard someone gasping for air. And I immediately had a calm come over me. And I opened the curtain, and there stood a lady who was probably close to her 80s with a hunched back. And no one else was in these booths. It was just her and I. And I said to her, "I've been prepared to help you." I said, "Just relax." So I placed my arms around her and gave her a thrust, and out popped the cough drop. And I noticed that she had turned. The color of her face was she was without oxygen. And so I kind of rubbed her back so that she could start breathing and breathe good, and held her up. And she turned to me and she said, "I am too old to work in the temple." And I said to her, "You've just been the recipient of a tender mercy, a miracle." I said, "Your Heavenly Father loves you. He knows you. And I'm sure He desires you to work at this temple, to be a part of it, to enjoy it." Then all of a sudden there was a paramedic there who helped her, looked her over, and took her away. I was grateful for that. Sometimes you're able to give the service, sometimes you're a recipient of it. Another time we attended the temple, my husband and I came home after our older children had watched our younger ones. My littlest one came up to me and said, "Mom, I almost drowned." I said, "You almost drowned?" I said, "What happened?" And he showed me, took my hand, and took me to the ditch that was behind our house. My husband had built a cinder block to protect our children from the ditch. And he said, "See that red thing in the water? I tried to reach it, Mom, and I fell in." And I went through the pipe, the culvert that was in our ditch, a small one. And I couldn't believe he had gone through that culvert. And just then I thought, there are angels watching over our children when we attend the temple. They watch over them as we serve our Heavenly Father and His children. Just before my husband passed away, he said to me, "When you need me, I'll be in the temple, in His house. My husband's there, and I feel peace when I go, and when I need Him, He's there."